Hello everyone, welcome back to BARCastTV and to another episode of Roast My Replay. Just want to say thanks again for all the comments and suggestions y'all have been leaving on the channel. It really helps me improve. Go ahead and let me know what you all think of the new mic settings I have updated here. If it's too loud, too soft, let me know. I'd appreciate the feedback, and let's get into this replay. So, I found myself in a match against none other than Raghna here, and for those of you who don't know, Raghna is a former Alpha Cup Championship champion and just all around great part of the community, great player. So I was fortunate enough to find myself in a game against him, and he handed me a decisive loss, and I really wanted to analyze this replay with y'all and see where I was at in the game and what I could have done to improve or, found myself in a winning position in the mid game. So let's take a look together and analyze the replay. So I'm going to be doing this from my perspective. I think we might take a look at certain timestamps and compare myself to compare my economy and my position on the board, my standing army to Raghna's units. But I really just want to go through my thought process on some of these moves here and see what we can improve on. So this is Comet Catcher. I've been playing a lot of games on this. I think this is becoming a popular map, real popular map. Let me turn off this console chat. Okay. So Raghna just commenting on, is this a Smurf account? I was kind of fooling around. So definitely not a Smurf new player here. For those of you who don't know, I've got a big background in StarCraft. So I've been playing that since about 2009, 2008, 2009. So really enjoy the Brood War. Kind of found myself playing that more often than over StarCraft 2, but that's neither here nor there. We're here to analyze Bar. Just want to shout out to Lapatka, who gave me a very nice compliment in this game. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate the kind words you had to say. So back to the game. I'll pause it real fast and just talk about the opening here. This is Comet Catcher, and we've been playing a lot of games on this. It's a big map, lots of mass, and no wind, so you have to adjust your gameplay accordingly, and that involves just, extra solar collectors, and I want to say it favors bots. You can play vehicles on this map, like 100%, but I would argue bots are slightly better, just based off of, the construction bots are quicker than the vehicles, so I feel like if we're going to be expanding left, right, center, or top, down, center, it makes sense. If you're going to have 3 expanding engineers, it makes sense to go construction bot. That's just my opinion. Y'all are free to welcome comment in the section, comment in the comment section. Let me know what your opinion is, if this is like a vehicle or bot lab, and yeah, maybe you could convince me otherwise. Yeah, let's unpause the replay. For those of you, if there is any high-level players who would like to come onto the channel and analyze these with me, or for that matter, Raghna himself, please come on, share. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this match, or what I can do to improve. And really, this is geared towards helping everyone else. It's not completely selfish, I suppose. I mean, I'd like to see more 1v1 players in this game. So this is all pretty standard. I recently just learned this open here. It's construction bot into 5 grunts, double construction bot, 5 grunts into 2 more construction bots. So that's what I've been going for here, and it seems to be pretty stable. Can defend against a lot of attacks. And for those of you who didn't catch the Mastering the Early Game episode 6 with Teddy, I'm just basically copying this open from him. So what that entails is we go up here, we add a radar tower here, and then we're going to be expanding to this middle center of the board with our first expanding engineer. The second expanding engineer is going to go south, cap all those mexes and add some LLTs here, and then our third engineer is going to expand here and put some LLTs here. So going to try and get some LLTs up, trying to cap these mexes, get as much metal as possible, and really just stay in the base with the commander. So I'm trying to balance my economy. I notice, okay, it's really suffering on the income here, or the power here. I will say a couple points in this game I actually had a little bit of nerves bothering me. I think there was 1 or 2 instances I was trying to get down a LLT and was just fumbling around with the controls. So definitely a little bit of nerves playing a factor here, I'm sure. So here we are. I have 2 grunts heading across the middle of the map. I figured these were too far forward. I should get them back into the radar coverage here so I can protect my units. I have 1 grunt in the back of my base trying to prevent run-bys from there. And I'm really just playing defensively. I know what Raghna is capable of. He's a great raider. Great player in general. So I really want to have a stable opening, something like that. I want to protect these expanding engineers and, you know, have a fighting chance in the mid game by just being able to produce enough armies. So here's my 3 expanding construction bots. We can see 1, 2, 3. Really nothing to analyze here. I didn't quite see this main. I noticed his commander was standing there and he had the LLT up, so I kind of just ran back. Same for this one here. I didn't lose these grunts, but I didn't take a note of how many construction bots he actually had in his base, and didn't really use that information at all. So definitely can use this as, you know, scouting information to you know, make a decision or make a change in play. So I have some forward grunts still. Have this grunt on the top side of the board. I'm just trying to deny expansions from here, and I put these units on patrol move, so just trying to deny construction bots. He was pretty cheeky and snaked around here. Let me actually pause this replay and take a look at his radar placement, because he was able to, like, I had that grunt there, this grunt kind of patrolling back and forth here a lot of the game, and he was able to just kind of expand to these mexes here, and he's able to put up some LTs, and I totally didn't notice that at all. So pretty interesting to see. And let's look at Raghna's open. He has an LLT here, so he doesn't go for a walk with his commander. He just goes 2 mexes, vehicle plant, and gets 3 construction vehicles before moving out with his commander. I noticed Raghna actually likes to move out with his commander on this board and put a forward factory, so we'll see if he actually does that this game. But I really want to analyze the decisions I was making and where I went wrong in this game. So I think it'd be best to just kind of leave on the player view and take a look at the statistics once in a while. Let me see where we're at so far. I'll turn this off. Statistics. So really close on mass, just 200. Well, that's not terribly close. He's got a little farther ahead, but I mean, that's like 5 grunts. What? 5 or 6 grunts. So let's unpause the replay. So this ends very abruptly. We'll get to that point eventually, and really just trying to copy Teddy's open here. So just 4th construction bot is going to be adding on power. 5th construction bot adds on 1 power and starts doing construction turrets, and we'll sporadically add on some additional solar collectors with our commander as the need arises. So I think I modified this build a little bit. I used my 5th construction bot to expand. This should actually be adding on construction turrets and build power, so not the best move here. So really just trying to play defensive. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 expanding engineers. I haven't really taken any harassment damage yet, and I can see on my radar here that Raghna's been moving some units down to the center here. Now, I don't think I realized if he was going bots or vehicles quite yet, and I'll make that discovery shortly enough here. I want to say, based off the speed of these Raghna signatures, I had an idea it was vehicles, these little fast tanks, and as soon as I noticed that they are the blitzes, I just run away. You can't take this fight with 3 grunts versus 5 blitzes, so okay. I'm like, alright, I don't want to lose this construction bot. I cancel making this metal extractor, walk back, and move some grunts into position. Meanwhile, he's able to get 1 scout here on the top side of the board, 1 scout here. I think he takes out this radar, and the game is going to be speeding up here for a little bit, so try to get these units into position to prevent this run by on the left side. And you really want to get ahead of units. And as soon as you start getting kited, you just step back, because kiting units, I don't know what it is in this game. Maybe someone can like drop something in the comments. Perhaps I should examine how I'm microing. But really, it seems like units that kite will be shooting more efficiently than the units that are chasing them. So as soon as I start chasing these blitzes, I just back away. I'm really interested in just protecting this construction bot, preventing any run-bys on this left side here, or suppose putting some run-bys through here, right, and taking out these mexes in the center. So really just want to stay ahead of these blitzes and in front of them to not take any damage. We can see on this top side of the board, I wonder if I've reacted to these radar signatures here. I'm going to be losing these 2 mexes for sure. I have this 1 grunt in the back, and he's got a couple blitzes here. Let's unpause the replay and just take a look. Takes out a couple. This is some decent harassment. I want to say at some point in the game I am able to get my own harassment done, but for now I'm just suffering these losses. Takes out 1, 2, 3 mexes, 4 mexes, 5. So not the most ideal situation. I put up this LLT with my commander, trying to get in front of these blitzes here, and I have too many units chasing these, so I'll pause the replay, and I wish I could record or rewind and see how I could have split these grunts up differently. But as soon as I noticed that we had these blitzes moving in on the top side of the map, I think I'd reacted a little improperly. I didn't get in front of the units, because in BAR, if you don't get in front of the units, they're just going to be able to move and shoot as they move through your base, so you can't stop them from taking out your mexes. And this is actually great damage, really. I mean, take a look at the statistics. Well, I'm still up in metal produced, so I think I might have been a little too greedy with the expansions, but that's how I like to play. I feel like if you're greedy with your expansions, you really put the pressure on your opponent to do something about it. Now I'm saying I'm doing this against like the best player in the game, or I mean, he's top 3 player, top 5 player in the game, so maybe not a completely ideal strategy, but I want to say, kind of in the middle of the road while you're climbing the ranks, if you're making these moves that your opponent has to have the proper response to, otherwise you get ahead economically. That's just how I like to play the game, so that's how I like to play StarCraft as well. Not that that matters. So this blitz run by is finally going to go down, lose a couple solar collectors, lose several mexes. It's just great damage by Raghna, great rating. And he's able to sweep through and catch these here. I stopped chasing with my grunts, so hindsight 2020, I suppose. Still up in a little bit in mass, but he takes out 1 construction bot. Did this one go down here? Yeah, 2 construction bots, a lot of mexes. And I have a decent standing army, so here I wonder if I had a chance to like counterattack at all. I still have this grunt in the back, preventing this from getting, preventing these mexes from being taken. I have these grunts here, keeping an eye on the south side of the board. So I know I've watched Raghna play on this map, so I know his play style. I'm like, okay, he likes to expand into the center of the board and put up a lot of LLTs. So really that's going to force me to, I don't want to engage him directly in the center of the board because I don't want to donate mass. So really I need to focus on running by, doing run bys on the top side of the board, and coming around here. And really this seems to be like the weakness in the actual in his position, even though there's 2 LLTs here and I'm kind of running into that circle. This is where the output of the factory is actually at. So it's not completely the most like undefended area, but you really don't want to be stepping into this middle part of the board where his commander is, most of his units, and most of his LLTs, I'm sure, are going to be put down in this area. So basically my thought process going into this game and after we get into like the mid game is just try to lock up the middle of the board, macro properly, expand properly, and start performing run bys on the top side of the board. And yeah, that's it. So try and get ahead that way. So I'll unpause the replay. I really think there was an opportunity to do some counterattacking with these grunts. I just draw a fan out of line and then I start splitting them up. So I want to get some grunts here on the top side of the board and really just use this radar coverage. I'm reduced to 1 radar here. I have another one here. So my idea is like you just need your standing army somewhere in the center of your radar coverage. So that way we have the best chance of reacting to these signatures show up here, signatures show up here. You can move from that central position to counteract and get in front of these units before they get into your main base. So that's my idea behind this unit positioning. Let's go back to my player view. I see these signatures coming in and okay, I move most of my grunts up to that top side. I see he pulls away. So I want to say I kind of drop these back down, but trying to replace my expanding engineers. I have this one on the top side, capping these mexes, reclaiming that. I have replaced this central engineer. And I have this one on the bottom replaced. So I have my 3 expanding construction bots. Do a little bit of a wonky walk with my commander. I think I'm not sure what I'm doing with my commander here. Man, that's not good. Just an idle commander. That's not good. He could be assisting a factory. I'm adding on extra power. So I see that I'm kind of low on power here. So I'm like, all right, I need to get that build power into into those solar collectors. So let's take a look at the board. I'll pause the game. Go to statistics. So pretty even on mass. That's a good position. And I was ahead at one point. So if I was able to defend his run bys a little better, I think I would have been actually ahead in this early or this mid game. So definitely not the worst position. I've seen a couple mistakes so far. Definitely I could have handled those run bys a little better, and maybe I'll rewatch this replay on my own and take a look at how I could have maneuvered my grunts better. I see this blitz army coming in, get my grunts in position, and I'm just trying to stay ahead of his army. You don't want these units to get past your army because they'll move and shoot and destroy all your mexes while you're trying to catch up to him. So, and we can see Raghna's playstyle, right? He has so many LLTs here in the middle of the board already. So he really likes his playstyle, and then he'll add a factory. Try and get a little run by here. Probably could have been better. He has radar coverage here. Might have been able to snipe that if I had came in the proper angle, but you know, I'm just attempting a run by. You know, it's you gotta make moves, you gotta make plays. If you make a mistake with your run bys, you'll just learn from it and, you know, try better next time, I suppose. So still have some expanding engineers. Decided to add an additional one here to try and cap these mexes. So I'll pause the replay, see what I've done. I've queued up 1 expanding engineer, 2, 3. I have one in the center of the board adding on LLTs, and this one at the top side is adding additional LLTs. So I think I'm doing a decent job of expanding. Take a look at the statistics. I've once again taken the lead in the metal produced. So, and I've also decided to add on a couple grave robbers. I don't make these too quickly, but as soon as I start seeing trades happening, or if you lose construction bots, these are so good at resin construction bots. I should have done a better job of paying attention to where the ones I've lost, so I can res those efficiently and then get them back to capping mexes and expanding. So grave robbers are super good. If you don't use them, incorporate them into your gameplay. I don't quite think haven't quite found why I lost the game. Well, we'll find out together. So pretty stabilized. I see that I have decent radar coverage, and I want to just posture constantly. So I see he's moving in. I want to say I see him moving in. I haven't reacted quite yet. Go back to the player view, and he's able to dive in here. So great little move. Trying to get in front of this army with I've started producing my own blitzes. I moved on to 2 factory production. So I want to say I take a decent fight here. I'm able to get on top of his army and start chasing him down. So can't kite when your units are on top of you, and I take a decent trade. I clean out most of this army. He's still kiting. It's so crazy how you just can take out mexes for free. And I don't catch these. Oh my god, that would have been great. I didn't see that. Why don't they chase those? I have these units on patrol. The construction bots run past those. And anyways, here, I'll pause the game. Take a look at the state. So we had this fight in the middle. I was like, okay, great. I got a lot of reclaim on my side of the map. I need that in my mass bar, right? So I'm like, I don't want to res these units. I'm just going to reclaim them. And I've moved my commander to the center of the board to use his build power to cap this mex and start adding on LLTs. Because even though I have a little bit of apprehension about creating several LLTs, I really think if your commander's out in the middle of the board at this state in the game, you really need to put like 5, 6, 7 LLTs around him to prevent run bys or getting doved on. Let's take a look at this run by I have on the left side. I'm trying to go with my theory that if I just run through this lane here, I can clear out these expansions, these mexes that he doesn't have protected by an LLT forest. And these are 2 huge mistakes. I see 2 construction bots here. We touched on there's 2 construction bots here I missed with these grunts on patrol, and I could have very well taken those out. So I didn't quite see those in the heat of the game, and he's got 3 up here on the board. So maybe this is a mistake. Instead of driving down here, I should just really focus on clearing out this expansion here. And I don't want to say catching these expanding engineers. I really should just see those. And then obviously these ones, that would have been such a huge catch, I think, because he ends up capping this entire bottom right hand corner of the map, and contributes to why I fell behind. Take a look at the statistics. Still pretty much dead even on metal produced, so pretty decent spot. I see that these units here, he comes in. Do I dive on this? Yeah, I probably could have retreated there. That would have been a smarter move. I didn't want to take out the radar, so took out the radar and backed away. Did I catch these? I might end up catching those. So we have another engagement here in the center. I notice he has these Centurions out, and once again, I noticed Raghna likes to produce these out of his forward. Produce Centurions and then the Lazarus construction bots. So I know there's a reclaim field here he wants to push me off of, and I decide, all right, I need to take a fight here. I need to protect these construction bots and get this mass, get this mass from the reclaim field. I'm not quite sure how this trade is going. I think decently well. I'm able to take out several Centurions. There's one low health one, and I just back up. I want to regroup. I don't want to chase that army. That's so crazy. He caps all this for free, and I still have these 2 patrolling engineers. So I left a little mass for him there on his side of the board, but really the fight is over this reclaim field that's forming, and I'm trying my best to get it into my economy. So I'm like, all right, let me pause the game, take a look at the thought process here. I'm in a pretty decent position. I've got most of my board locked up. There's this reclaim and this constant battle happening here, so I'm just trying to reinforce that and get to the reclaim field. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to move my commander down here. Hopefully with my standing army, I can start just adding on LLTs, and with the reinforcements from my production, I can take control of this reclaim field and get that mass into my bank, right? So I don't think that's a terrible mistake, but we'll see what that ends up costing me here. So there's 5 Centurions I'm walking into with my commander. 2 of them are damaged. We'll take a look at the micro. And I really just stepped too far forward. As soon as he notices my commanders here, we can see that Centurions outrange commanders, and they have the same movement speed. So if you're able, not the same, we'll take a look at the card. So where is the movement speed? Okay, 4.5, 45 speed and 74.5 acceleration, whereas the commander, 45 speed, 74.5 acceleration. So dead even speed and acceleration, right? But I think they outrange it. Let's take a look. Can we see the range here? I can't see exactly where the range is on this card. But anyways, with the same movement speed and acceleration, we can see that they can just run down this commander. And that's what ends up happening. And this is such bad micro, really. So I step forward, I see the Centurions are there. I get 1 D-gun off, and then I start backing up, but then I turn around. So I kind of hesitate here, and it ends up costing me the game. And he's just able to move and shoot. So he comes back and starts kiting. I have control of the reclaim field. I have decent map control. I have a decent presence on the board, and I'm ahead en masse, right? So I want to say I was in a decent position here. I'm not sure what the additional, like what the follow-up would be. Like I suppose obviously Tech 2, and I haven't played so many games that I've moved into Tech 2. I think my impetus more is to just add on a 3rd factory, whether it's an air factory or an additional bot factory somewhere at the front. I will say I will take from Raghna though this forward factory here and adding on Centurions and Lazarus. This is really smart, and he protects it with an LT, so you can't push him off of this entrenched position. Suppose what makes it so strong, and he has the middle of the board locked up, you know, and everyone says that's a great move. He has this locked up with so many LTs, and I'm not confident enough in my micro to shoo him off of there with rocket bots. Artillery seemed too slow per Zlo. He was kind enough to leave some comments in an earlier video about, you know, how to deal with these LLT forests. So if y'all have any ideas or some suggestions on what would be a decent counter to this playstyle, for now, my assumption is just get your half of the board and counterattack where it's weak, right? Which would be this top side and the bottom side until he's able to completely secure those. I know there's 4 LLTs here. He doesn't have any in this bottom side of the map, but really the weakness is this middle part of the board right here. We can see, I mean, just one LLT, really no units, and 4 mexes, right? So there's a lot of weakness in this board, but he has the middle so locked up, right? I mean, that's just so many LLTs. How many is that here? 12 LLTs right in this little area, right? So it's a strong playstyle. I really like it, and I think it's just good on Comet Catcher because there's so much mass on this board. We can make we can afford to make these LOTs, I guess, afford. But really, it's more about the position on the board he likes to have, or Raghna likes to have, rather. So I think that's where we're going to wrap up the game. Don't walk in front of Centurions with your commander, because that's how you can throw games. And I hope you all enjoy this content or learn something from it. If you would like to have your own replays kind of analyzed in this manner, hopefully I'll get better at it in the future. I'm not sure if this quite helps, but see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.